So just be sure to open and close the.
Okay. Should I do that now?
No,
Right when we open?
wait till the meeting starts.
Don't laugh, Robin.
I
Notice how much you don't pay attention to these things.
Oh,
That's how you have to do it, yeah.
I was nervous for about the first 6 months. I was like getting sick.
I thought about going back on YouTube and just watching to make sure I don't really look dumb.
I still have it.
I did look at it the other day for the first time. I'd never looked at it.
Really?
Yeah, and it picks up what you say, because I was asking you, you said something to you about being a grandfather. Yeah, I thought, I think I need to
Your little gavel.
The first time I was sitting here.
Ready?
All right. We're going to call to order today.
Lund,
Here.
Johnston,
Here.
Watts,
Here.
Allen,
Here.
Jacobs.
Okay, minutes.
Move to approve.
Lund,
Yes.
Watts,
Because I went here. Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Allen,
Abstain.
Johnston.
Yes. Adoption of the agenda.
Move to approve.
Lund,
Yes.
Watts,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Johnston.
Yes. Okay, we're going to open the public hearing. If anybody needs to sign up, it's in the back. Read it.
Yeah, go ahead and read all that.
Public hearing on an ordinance annexing certain adjacent territory into the city of Warrensburg, Missouri, known as the right-of-way for McGuire Street, Business Highway 13, Hawthorne Boulevard, Northwest 21 Road. Barb.
At your meeting last month, you did an annexation for a piece of property owned by Elvin Maloney, which was a triangle-shaped piece of property north of the Office Depot site and the former trailer park site. This is the right-of-way that surrounds that piece. There's a map in the packet that does a pretty good job of showing the area because the description is a very long meets and bounds description. And so it goes north, North Golden Street, north across the crossover into McGuire Business 13, and then back down Business 13 to the current city limits, which is right there along the north side of the Walmart property. So it is a sort of an odd shape and involves right-of-way for two different roads. They are prepared to annex that into the city. And so the Planning and Zoning Commission talked about it at their meeting. You don't need a recommendation from them, but they did discuss it, and we have not had any contact from the public notices that have been sent out. So it's on the agenda for a first reading this evening, and then we need to wait that 14-day comment period that the state requires prior to you taking final action. So it's just for the hearing and the first reading this evening, and then the actual zoning of that land will follow in a couple months after the ownership switches to the city, and you will need to petition yourselves to rezone. So that takes a little more time than the normal process. So we would recommend approval.
Public hearing. So we see if anybody signed up.
Yeah, see if anybody wants to.
Mr. Doyle, has anybody signed up? Do I have to do the second one because it's also? Okay, we're going to close the public hearing. We're going to reopen a new public hearing. Public hearing on an ordinance enlarging a general business district by rezoning land located at 1107 South McGuire Street from R3 Low Density Multifamily Residence District to GB General Business District. Barb.
This is the property that's currently developed with Performance Automotive, and the applicant and owner is here this evening if you do have questions of him. This is a property that when it was zoned in 1992 had two zoning districts applied to it. The first, I would say, 2/3 of the west 2/3 of the property is in a general business district currently. It has been for some time, and that contains the development and the business that's open there. The eastern third, kind of a trapezoidal shape there, is zoned R3, and so he's requested that all of it be brought into the general business district, so that if he were to expand his business in the future, it would, the setbacks are a lot cleaner to understand, and it just makes a better, more smooth development. So the planning and zoning considered this at their meeting last week and did recommend approval. You have a copy of their written recommendations in your packet. You also did have some public comment come in, and that is stated there in your packet and a letter provided by the one neighbor who was in favor of the rezoning.
Okay. Anybody signed up? No? Okay, so we will close that public hearing. Okay, item number 3, first reading of an ordinance. An ordinance annexing certain adjacent territory into the city of Warrensburg, Missouri, known as the right-of-way from McGuire Street, Business Highway 13, Hawthorne Boulevard, Northwest 21st Road. To Barb again, same one we just talked about.
I'm happy to answer any questions. That is the first reading, and so that's the only action you have to take tonight, unless I can answer any questions for you.
Okay. Okay, ordinance first and second reading. Number 4, an ordinance enlarging a GB general business district by rezoning land located at 1107 South McGuire Street from R3 low density multifamily residence district to GB general business district.
This one we are recommending approval for first and second reading this evening.
I move said bill be passed second reading by title.
Lund,
Yes.
Watts,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Johnston.
Yes.
This is an ordinance enlarging a GB general business district by rezoning land located at 1107 South McGuire Street from R3 low density multifamily residence district to GB general business district. This is for adoption or rejection. Lund,
Yes.
Watts,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Johnston.
Yes. Okay, other business and appearances and miscellaneous. We have discussion on building permit fees.
Annually, we take do an analysis of our building permit fees, and at this point in the year, try to predict what next year will look like, and if we want to implement any increase in our building permit fees so that that can be accounted for in our future revenue projections for the budget for fiscal year 18. We try to do it early enough so that if we anticipate increasing it, we can give builders and contractors 2 or 3 months notice so that they can bid jobs accordingly and not spring it on them at the last second. They like to have several months to bid jobs with that increase in mind. Currently, you have adopted a policy back in 1999 that said we would try to recoup 40% of the cost of the building inspection division, and that is your building inspector, building official, property maintenance code inspector, and 75% of your permit clerk, and I think 25% of my time is how we calculate those costs, and then any direct costs. So those are the personnel involved, and then any direct costs that we have. And so with the modifier has been increasing. You see a history there. We increased it in 2013, held it steady in 14 and 15, and increased again in 2016. And our recovery rate is, the actual recovery rate varies significantly because there are several factors in that, including the construction valuation that you have come in the door in any given year, your modifier, and then the expenses of the department itself in that 1 year. And so for the future, coming year, we think construction valuation, we've estimated it going up by $5 million from about a $20 million this year to a $25 million next year. And then with our expenses, the expenses will increase this year with the permit software falling in fiscal fiscal 18. And so, calendar year 18. So we're recommending a slight increase. And with that, if construction valuations come in like we think, then we would anticipate recovering at about a 30%. So that would just be a slight increase over this year's recovery rate of 29%. It is an increase. We have looked at what other cities' permit activity has been for 4 different types of permits and what their fees would be, and then shown you how many permits they have in those areas. You can see even with an increase, we would still be in the middle of the pack.
Do we know if there's any thing on the table as far as water taps or sewer taps? Any increase in those costs proposed?
We're not on the sewer taps alone, we'd have control on. We're not present look at that. We've discussed possibly taking a look at that in the future, seeing where we're at with it.
Okay.
You do, that's a good point. So this, like with the single family house that you're looking at here, that 638 current, 749 proposed, that is just the building permit portion of it. On top of that, you would add, if there's a sidewalk fee,
Right.
you would add a driveway fee, sewer tap, you do add on top of it. So the check they write to the city is closer to $1,000 typically on a single family.
And we don't know, there's been no discussion as far as we know about water tap increases or anything?
I haven't heard anything at this time.
Okay.
Yeah, staff hasn't discussed that, so it wouldn't be anything we're proposing in this fiscal budget year as we're putting together a budget now. So you're at least a year away before any of that would be
Okay.
presented to council for approval.
All right. Thank you.
Other questions?
This is something that there's no formal action for you to take, but we would get, we usually get just a vote if you're interested in increasing that modifier.
Looks like we're towards the bottom as far as being one of the cheaper ones right now, and even with the increase, we're still middle of the pack, maybe even a little lower in the other categories. So I think we're still a bargain, even comparing ourselves to very comparable communities like Sedalia. We're a lot cheaper even with the proposed increase. So I think we're well within line, even with the increase.
Consensus?
I would move that we would approve the proposal as staff has presented it to bring us more in line with recovering that 40% that we said we were going to try to recover.
Lund,
Yes.
Watts,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Johnston.
Yes. Okay. Number 6, miscellaneous matters from the mayor and or city council. Move on to around the room.
I think you have appearances to the council not listed.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Number 7, appearances to the council not listed on the agenda. Sign up, right? Doyle, do we have anybody signed up for that? Okay. City managers report and other matters.
I'm not gonna take a whole lot of time, because Rachel who's filling in for Matthew is gonna do a quarterly report for you. And during the strategic session, council requested at least a quarterly report on how we're doing budgetarily with the goals and objectives that the council had outlined strategically. So Rachel is gonna take care of that tonight. So I don't have anything much further than that. We are getting ready to begin budget discussions in earnest with the council. So sometime this week, you should probably receive an email on that, on some things to think about coming into the next council meeting. And then you'll have the rest of this month and into August and September to make any final changes to the budget before we need to submit it to the state. But I'll leave it at that. Website continues to move forward. We were hoping to launch it this week, but we had some changes at Civic Plus. Wasn't able to meet their timeline on it. They're working on. And then we're also working on the community survey and hoping to get that out here soon as well. So we had our first meeting with that company. Staff is in the process of determining the survey mechanisms and questions and those types of things, and getting that ready as well. So.
Yes, ma'am.
Matthew has asked me to highlight a couple items on the finance report. Under the general obligation bonds, expenses have started to come in, and bills are going to be due in August. Currently, it's $80,000 that we're going to need to be paying. And the staff recommendation is that we use reserves to pay that, and then as the money comes in, we replenish those reserves. The second item is the quarterly report, and he put this together, and have to take a look at it. He's looking at including this report in the second council meeting of the month after the quarter, and then that way you can have more expenses up to date, because sometimes it takes a little while for the bills to come in. But if you want to take a look at this report, just to see if, you know, I'm not sure if this is a format you've already seen, or if it's one you're looking at for the first time on this one.
Is it a new format?
Yeah.
Is it a new form? Okay.
So if you have any feedback as far as readability and information on it, if there's additional information you would like or some things you don't understand, we're happy to hear that commentary and tweak as the council desires.
I like how this looks. I think I might be a little bit confused because it has Q3 on here, but we're just now entering Q3, aren't we?
We are,
Or we're
this
not
would be
calendar, we're
fiscal
fiscal.
quarter.
Got it.
So that's why.
Yeah, because our.
I'm sorry.
That's
year
okay, I
starts
had
in
to think about that for
September.
a second myself. Yeah, we're,
October 1, our year starts.
yeah, so
April,
you-
May, June. Oh, okay.
so we're just now entering the last quarter of our fiscal year.
Yeah, I like the new format.
Yeah, I do
It
too.
is colorful, easy to read.
And then if you, like I say, it will have more information on it as far as being up to date when it comes to the second council meeting after the quarter. And the other thing he asked me to mention is, we just got the information, I think it was Friday, that July revenues are actually up over last July and over the last few Julys. So that was good news.
That is good.
It was one of the biggest months on record. We're a little leery and hesitant
I know.
on that.
I know.
We're wondering with the state's announcement of holding back the tax rebates, refunds, we're wondering if they didn't hold some of our revenues for a period to build up enough money to pay that. We don't know. We have no way of proving that at this point. So we just find it a little fishy that,
It's,
All of a sudden,
yeah, we've been low and low and low, and all of a sudden we have a month that's well over what it's normally been. It just happens to coincide with that action by the state. So we're gonna be paying attention to revenues here over the next couple, well, we always pay attention to revenues, but
yeah.
we're gonna be looking at that and digging in a little bit to see if there's
Do we know
anything
if,
there that we need to be concerned about.
did the county get the same bump? Do we know?
I don't know yet.
That'd be interesting to know.
Thank you, Rachel.
thank you.
Barb, do you have anything else?
I included in your packet this time a copy of the 3 facade grants that we've done this fiscal year. There was a question at the budget retreat to try to get some before and after pictures of those. And so Main Street and I will try to do that as we go now. This set hasn't been, other than Willie's, haven't been as glamorous as some of the others, but certainly tuck pointing on windows are a very important part of preserving the building, so we were happy to do those.
Thank you. Slim?
The only thing I add tonight is our asphalt program started off pretty well. We've been doing polymer overcoat. Had a lot of real good cooperation from the travelers in the city who's working around and taking the detour routes. So we've had some really good cooperation. We appreciate that. Not parking on our streets that we've got posted, and a lot of good positive things taking place out there. We'll start the seal coating on the streets that we polymered last year, which will, one main route would be Mitchell Street. We've been advised by the contractor that it takes 2 hours for one lane of that to cure, so we are anticipating some, a little bit of congestion, some problem with traffic with that. So that'll be starting Wednesday. It should take about 3 days to complete those streets.
You should get good weather, no rain in the forecast.
I got some feedback on just the aesthetics of it. I guess the aggregate that we're using this year doesn't have the reddish
Right.
tint to it.
We switched aggregate, we felt the other, just, it was red.
Right.
Felt the other would blend better, like
yeah.
asphalt tint.
Yep.
Of course, when we seal coat these streets that we're doing, that we did last year, it is gonna get black
Right.
topping on that, so, it should improve the aesthetics on those streets also.
The LED lights are in too.
I was just saying
Yeah.
the same thing.
I think KCP&L was
Cool.
shocked when I actually went forward and then, backed up in the street and rolled down my window and said, "Is that the new LED light?" And I was actually a little bit excited. I think he was surprised. Like, yeah.
That's all I have, thank you.
Well, while we're in the public meeting, back to the polymer overcoat, just a reminder to the public, there is a lot of loose gravel down right now, and that sits there until we get maximum adhesion, and then we'll come by with the sweepers and pick up a lot of that extra. So,
Our contractor is, right now with us trying to sweep it as he goes instead of leaving it on there for a week like we did last year. That was a big problem, especially for motorcycles.
Yeah.
But they've been, working to try and get some of it picked up as they go, so we're not leaving as much aggregate out there in some areas. So if we take it up too quick, it'll bleed, so we have to leave it on there.
All right. Thank you. Gary?
If you don't have any questions, I don't have anything to add in.
I wouldn't know what to ask. Danielle?
I don't have anything.
Great.
Other than the HR report that's inside your packet, we did have the opportunity to meet with the third-party administrator this last week. The report was done before that meeting, and just in general, we're having good experience, and we'll get out specific results to you. But so far this year, we're having a really good experience, so that should help us.
basically what that means is our plan for controlling health insurance costs is working very well, and is doing very well for us right now.
Good.
Thank you. Jody?
Yeah, the 4th of July festivities went over very well considering the rain, but everybody worked really hard on that. Great partnerships, and we appreciate the great day. Inclusive Playground is getting closer to announcing some things, but the committee is working hard. You might see some cans in the businesses, raising funds, and excited about it. Every Thursday, this Thursday and next Thursday, they're having a come to the community center, pick out the equipment that you'd like to see in the inclusive playground. And so getting the public's input, I think, was really good. And it's in room 3 at the community center, so if you're interested in that, please stop by. And this weekend we have the championship SMSL swim team meet at NASA. So the pool will be closed around 2 o'clock on Friday, and then will be closed on Saturday, but open back up on Sunday for the public. They expect about 600 swimmers, about 2,500 people coming into our community to be in this meet, and the Parks Department, Main Street, Chamber of Commerce, and the Visitors Bureau is helping us put this on. And so we've had a couple of meetings. We're going to have one more final meeting tomorrow, and it's going very well. That's all I have to report.
Thank you.
Glad to answer any questions you might have.
Chief?
We had what you may have seen in the paper already, a fire there since last week ago, Saturday. It was quite extensive for their operation. Luckily, they were in annual shutdown for maintenance, so they're able to move another item in there. Everything went real well. They were real appreciative of what went on, and they shouldn't lose any production over it. Other than that, it's hot. Be careful out there. It's going to be hotter tomorrow and Wednesday. So be careful.
Give you an update on the Sweet 16 as they've been termed now, the dogs that were dumped on the 4th of July. 45-year-old Michael Ogle was charged today with 16 counts of abandonment of a dog, an animal. There may be additional charges, we have animal to collect that are filed, but we didn't have all of the statements necessary to get that done today. So they're all misdemeanors. He's from Holden. He did have 7 other dogs at the house in Holden, but it didn't appear like they were neglected like these were. The reason he dumped them is he claims that his ex-wife, or soon-to-be ex-wife, was an animal hoarder, and she left. He didn't know what to do with the dogs. He called up to the city to try to get somebody to take them from him. They wouldn't, so he dumped them. So that's what he told us. He was good enough to come in and give us a statement, so and he did express quite a bit of remorse.
Thank you.
Nothing.
You're down here.
Nope.
It's a really short meeting.
I know.
You're doing great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Somebody tell Brian.
You'll have to tell Brian.
I apologize if anything was a little rough. I'm a rookie up here, so I 4th of July was great though. There was so much going on in the city, and it was pretty exciting. My husband always asks if we want to go to Branson or something, and I refuse to go anywhere on 4th of July because I enjoy it here. So, all right. Is that all? Oh yeah. We're gonna go back in a closed session.
Vote to close part of this meeting pursuant to section 610.021 of the revised statute of Missouri relating to 1, legal actions, causes of action or litigation involving the city and any confidential or privileged communication between the city and its representatives and its attorneys. 2, leasing, purchase, or sale of real estate where public knowledge might adversely affect the amount paid in the transaction. 3, hiring, firing, disciplining, or promoting a particular employee by a public governmental body when the personnel information about the employee is discussed or recorded. 12, documents or any documents related to a negotiated contract until a contract is executed or all proposals are rejected. 13, individually identified personnel records, performance rating, or records pertaining to employee or applicants for employment.
Lund,
Yes.
Watts,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Johnston.
Yes. All right.
Great. Yeah. Well, my firecracker guy didn't come. I thought maybe that was him, but I don't really know. The firecracker. See the email I sent? City would run shoot up firecrackers and send them. It was unconstitutional. He was gonna come tonight, and that's
Well, I
why.
wish you had him.
Hey, Bob, I don't even
Uh-huh.
I don't even know what I was saying. It's the limit of the city, but that's not what.
Yeah, that's right.
That, we're talking about the firecrackers guy. The
I don't know.
email I sent about the
Yeah, shooting them off
firecrackers.
anyway.